The Florida Gators have broken my heart once again. And for the last time this football season, we're going to talk about it here on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. Happy Saturday, if we're gonna call it happy. Yeah, I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Written work with Whole 9 Sports, Giants, Country NFL 33, all that fun stuff. That sucked. And there's no other way to put it. It just sucked. And I feel like this was, I genuinely, like, I don't have words to express how infuriating that game was. Billy Napier should never in his life again pick up a play sheet. Never again in his life should call a play. Does not deserve that. Just horrible. I don't have a problem with some of the decisions. I don't have a problem too much with the third down QB keeper and then kick a field goal to take the lead there. I don't have a big problem with that. I get it. You missed 2 field goals as well. And if you make those, you win the game. But you win the game if you make those field goals. However, you also win the game if Jaden Hill doesn't decide this is the time I'm going to take a headshot on Tate Rodemaker for no reason. It was Jaden Hill and Bryce Thornton. At least with Bryce Thornton, I can go, oh, he's a true freshman. He's supposed to make the stupid mistakes. But it's Jaden Hill, who's been here forever. It's just stuff like that. And I'm not putting the whole game on Jaden Hill. I would never do that. This game is just, there were a ton of things. Even during the first half, when everything felt like it was going Florida's way, I was tweeting out, things feel like they're going Florida's way, but they're failing to capitalize. You look at, I think it was yesterday's show where I said, don't do the stupid things. And Florida did the stupid things. I mentioned penalties, which I will say, I know that a lot of Florida Gators fans are crying about the Jaden Hill defensive pass interference on, I think it was Johnny Wilson or Keon Coleman. It was one of the Giant receivers, because there was a ton of hand fighting and everything. You can't complain too much because at the same time, Florida scored a touchdown because of a roughing the passer penalty that they didn't deserve. So there's that. That this is just, it's one of those games where you can't do the stupid things. And Florida collectively went, challenge accepted. We're going to do the stupid things. And they did the stupid things. And one of the things that I said you can't do is you can't not capitalize. And if Florida did one thing in that game, it was they did not capitalize. Because consistently, your defense puts you in a pretty good spot if you're Florida. And you failed consistently. Missed the field goal on the first drive, force a punt on a 3-and-out, score a touchdown, force a punt, kick a field goal, punt. You get a safety. What do? You go 3-and-out, and then Florida State scores a touchdown. Then you miss the field goal, and right before half, and then open the drive, Florida State touchdown. Here's the thing where we talk about the middle 8. And if you don't know, the middle 8 is the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. In that time span, Florida State scored a touchdown. Florida missed a field goal. So they're up 7-0. We come out of that break. Florida State scores a touchdown. Florida does not score. You lost this game 24-15, and you lost the middle 8 14-3. Yep. Yeah. This is just, Florida just punt after punt after punt. So a couple things. One, Billy Napier, never pick up a play call sheet for as long as you live, for two main reasons. One, it would help you be a lot more of the detail-oriented guy that we were promised, and then your team screws up every detail that, like, I didn't even know you could screw up. They managed to do that. Two, never in your life say the words, scared money don't make money. You do not deserve to say that phrase anymore, because all you did was play with scared money. And so you don't get to say that anymore. Few things that should also never happen. I never want to see Damian George on the football field again. And again, I try not to be too harsh, but the dude is just not an SEC caliber tackle. Maybe if you want to put him at guard, maybe. I'd be open to trying him at guard. He should never be lined up at tackle again. There were a lot of coaching decisions that are just inexplicable. Early in the game, I forgot which down it was. Maybe it was the first missed field goal or something like that. But Florida has Hayden Hansen, who on the show, love him, is one-on-one against Jared Verse. You're putting players in position to fail at that point. You're actively causing the failure, because no tight end on the planet, Hayden's one of the better blockers at tight end in college, should not be lined up against a potential first-round pick. What are we doing here? Multiple times this season, Billy Napier's team has failed with the details. Multiple times. And we were promised, pretty promised, that you were going to be detail-oriented, process-oriented, and you were going to nail those. The only thing you've done is put the nails in your own coffin lately. That's it. This is something where Billy Napier needs to not be the offensive coordinator. There needs to be multiple staff changes. And here's the thing about Billy Napier and his, I see the comments going, fire Napier, get rid of Billy Napier. Ain't going to happen. Here's the thing, though. This is the offseason. In the next couple of months, we will find out if Billy Napier has even a sliver of hope of being the head coach for the 2025 season. Okay? He's going to get this offseason to make hires, to right the ship, to do whatever it is. He's going to get that chance. However, if he doesn't get these hires right, if he doesn't hit the transfer portal properly, if he doesn't finish this 2024 cycle well, bye-bye. There's no other way to put it. There's no other way to put it, because next year, you're running the gauntlet. Okay? You need to hit these hires here. You need to nail them. Austin Armstrong, I'll give you credit. You coached a hell of a first half. However, I will also say, and I was texting Spencer McLaughlin, the host of Locked On Ducks and Locked On Pac-12, where I was saying the way that the game started was more indicative of Mike Norvell coaching scared than it was of Austin Armstrong coaching a hell of a game. And then when Mike Norvell opened things up, everything opened up. I get injuries or ejections, because Florida had 2 players ejected in this game. 2. Jamari Lyons for spitting. I would have told him, if I was on that staff, I would have said, hang up your helmet right now. And go ahead and get get Hayes Fawcett to make the post. Spitting in a rivalry game. I don't care how much you hit. I don't care how much you hate someone. You don't spit on them. The Jaden Hill targeting was one of the worst possible penalties you could have had there. But you guys know how this goes. And if you don't know how this goes, welcome to the live show of this is the postcast for Locked On Gators. Second half of this show is all with the chat. And we're going to get into the chat. Don't forget, Saturdays are for feeling, okay? So Saturdays are for feeling. You can come out here and you could be mad and you could say whatever you want, and we'll chalk it up to Saturdays are for feeling. So go ahead. Won't take it personally. I get it. You want to take it out on me. Before I do get to the chat, because it is that time, this bonus episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by FanDuel, which is it's kind of ridiculous that FanDuel pays me to do this. And I basically just give them the money back betting on Florida. It's wild. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offer stays hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app's easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. And remember that FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. And it's time to go into the chat because this surely won't be depressing. No moral victories. Is there even a moral victory you can have here? Florida State came in with their backup quarterback against our backup quarterback, and they won. No moral victory even to be had there. Shaquita, I can't repeat that, but I'm with you. Just know that one. I'm with you. Said that multiple times during the game because there's just no other way to put it. Zach thinks that I expect to see staff changes this week. Tomorrow, we're going to have a bonus episode of Locked On Gators come out where I talk about who I think is the most likely offensive coordinator hire for Billy Napier. We'll talk about that a lot this week. I was going to record it tonight after the game and then put it out in the morning. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I might wait until the morning to record it so that I have some time to catch my composure because that game sucked. Again, there's no way to put it. Yeah, this was just stupid penalties, stupid play calling. Allergic to momentum. There's no other way to put it. I'm not gonna say I'm done with Napier. I'm not that type of guy. I am gonna say that I'm significantly less confident in his ability to be the guy. And I've come to the point where I don't think Billy Napier is ever going to get the Florida Gators back to like the national title picture. I don't need him to do that. Just fill the cupboard for the next guy. Just do that. And I trust you to do that. I trust you to build a foundation with your recruiting because your recruiting has proven to be well. A lot of the best players on this team are players that Billy Napier brought in. So there's that. Also, look, I get when fans say things about players. I say things about players that I'm like, oh, maybe that was a little too harsh. Commentators, I feel like you shouldn't go, Jalen Kimber, this isn't touch football. I feel like that's a bit extreme for a commentator to say about a player. That's just wild to say. A bunch of people making fun of what Billy Napier's probably going to say in the press conference, which I'm going to watch after this. Where was Ricky? Ricky was out there, man. Where was the passing offense? Where was any semblance of trust in Max Brown? I don't know. I get that Florida State's run defense wasn't great. I don't know where Billy Napier got off thinking we don't have to even attempt to throw the ball. Because late in the game, as Florida tried to open up the passing attack, it was just killed. Texas A&M's expected to hire Kentucky coach Mark Stoops as their next head coach, barring a collapse of the deal. So there's that. Kentucky no longer owns Florida, I guess. I get it. Look, offensive line's bad. you're going to have to make some changes on that staff. I don't know if it's get rid of one of them, get rid of both of them, replace both of them, get rid of both of them and only hire one. I don't know what it is. Billy, Florida, whoever gets to make the decision of where the money gets allocated, allocate it to your offensive line. Because you desperately need offensive line help. It's been embarrassing this season trying to watch this offensive line do much. There's some good players on it, but man, and like we could talk about like Jake Slaughter has made strides, and that's been a big development. But Austin Barber regressed. Damian George is just bad and didn't get better. Cam Waits was not what many people anticipated him being. You can chalk that up to the Achilles, but man, it was a bad game. And Florida lost so many games this year by just getting pummeled. By just getting absolutely pummeled at the line of scrimmage. And that's unacceptable considering defensively, you have an assistant coach that coaches the defensive line that gets paid $1 million. And granted, he's done much better recruiting as opposed to the offensive side of the ball, where you have a coach who's getting paid $1 million. I don't know how much Darnell Stapleton's getting paid. Rob Sale's getting paid $1 million, and that's the product that he's putting out on offensive line. Just unacceptable. Mississippi State's expected to hire Oklahoma offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby as their next coach, so there's that. But it's just a catastrophic failure for the season. And look, there are plenty of positives, but again, right now, Saturdays are for feeling. And so we're going to feel here. I don't get the game plan offensively. Montreal and Trevor Etienne both got hurt. And for a full drive, Billy Napier continued to try to run it with Montreal when he clearly wasn't able to get anything going. And then, when you tried to pass, it was just, first off, Damian George should never get bullied by Jared Verse like that. He's like 90 pounds heavier. That's insane. But, I mean, Billy Napier just showed no interest in throwing the football. And I get it, that you're like, oh, backup quarterback, make things easy for him. You made things significantly harder for him because you didn't let him throw the football when he was dealing in the first quarter. Like like the ball to, I think was it Trey Wilson about the sideline where he just like dumped it in the bucket, like stuff like that. Like Max Brown was dealing, and Billy Napier was like, you know what? I want to lose this game. It was just terrible. It was just terrible, terrible, terrible. I get it. Nick Portero said if the O-line blocked, we win the game. You pay two coaches, one of them over $1 million, to suck? Nah, unacceptable. Heads need to roll if Billy Napier wants to have this job through the 2024 season. Absolutely embarrassing and pitiful performances that have been put on far too often. Play calling has been dog crap far too often. The scheme is fine. Billy Napier is just a bad play caller. Okay, so I don't want to hear, the scheme. It's not the scheme. It's the guy calling the plays. Okay? Far too often this team has just not shown up. It's unacceptable at this point, and I realize that might sound a bit redundant, but I'm just at a loss of words for how bad this team plays at times, how bad the play calling is at times. Max Brown didn't play well, but guess what? You didn't give him a chance to either. It was just impossible. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen every day, and thank you. I know that I just spent 19 minutes bitching and moaning on this live stream, but if you've tuned into even one single show, if you've tuned into even one single second of one single show, thank you so much. This season it took years off my life. I would not change covering this team for anything. It's heartbreaking at times, but man, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate even just being given the opportunity to cover the Florida Gators program. And say that's my job. It's really hard to complain too much when I get to say that at the end of the day. So thank you if you've ever supported in any way, shape, or form. If you're part of the subtext group, if you're one of the Locked On Gators insiders, I appreciate you. If you're not, links in the description below. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole Nine Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33. And as always, I will see you all tomorrow.